Hello everyone. In this session, we'll continue looking at the browse orders application. And again, in this session, we're not going to be starting the coding process, but I do want to talk about something important, and that is the support for ES6 syntax. So this is the newer JavaScript syntax, and this allows us to write code in a much more concise manner. But the problem is the older browsers do not support the newer JavaScript syntax. And by default, SAP UI5 doesn't support the ES6 syntax, but with the help of the new UI5 tooling, we can add custom tasks and then be able to support the newer ES6 syntax when we build the project. So that's what we're going to show here. We're going to look at here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some code snippet that is written in ES6 syntax, and it really doesn't have any bearing to do with the application at all. It's just to illustrate how we support ES6 syntax. So I have an object declared as a const, has first name and city. I have an array also declared as a const, and then what I'm doing is I'm using the spread operator, and then I'm appending last name, a new property, and also the array that we have declared before. And then I'm doing a console.log to the console. Okay, and let's see how we can run this. So if I go into package.json, I have the dev script that we already have. So let me run it, npm run dev, and this should start up my server, and it should also start my proxy server as well. And it's starting my proxy server, and it's my local server is also started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go localhost /index colon 8080 /index.html, and I'm not really interested in the application per se. I'm interested in this console log.message, and I have city Atlanta, first name Milton, hobbies, all the hobbies, and my last name. So it worked well on this newer Chrome browser, and let me try on an older browser this same thing. And if I go to my Internet Explorer, which is an older browser, and if I go to localhost index.html, and nothing shows up. So if I open up my developer tools and let me refresh one more time, I will go into my console here and I will refresh one more time, and it says that it's failed, and it tells it failed in mastercontroller.js. So if I click on it, it tells me on line 36 it failed, and it looks at these the spread operator, and it doesn't know what the hell to do with the three dots. So let's see how we can transpile this code. So basically we want to take this newer syntax, convert it into the older syntax while we are building the project, and then the older browsers will support our application will be supported on the older browsers. So, so what I found on the internet is some good folks have created this npm package, ui5-task-transpile, and this allows us to transpile our ui5 like the ES6 sources, and we can add a new ui5 task, and we can support ES6 syntax. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to install this as a dev dependency, and big thanks to these contributors. So if you do if you do see them, buy them a beer or a Coke, because this is going to be really helpful. So let's go ahead and install this as a dev dependency. So I'm going to stop this, and let me see what happens when I try to build it. So let me do npm run build. So there is a script here to build it. So let me do the npm run build, and let's see what happens when we build it. And we see that the build itself has some error messages. It doesn't know what to do with this the three dots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install this package npm I ui5-task-transpile as a dev dependency, and then we can make use of this package and then we can uh, build our project and we can compile it as well. So let this install as a dev dependency. Okay, so it looks like it has installed as a dev dependency. And what I'm going to do, yeah, I can see UI5 as a dev dependency, and I've also added this as a dev dependency in my UI5. So you want to add this as well. Okay, so this is the first time. I mean, in the previous sessions, we haven't actually created a custom task, but here we are going to add a custom task in my UI5 YAML, and I'm going to use this to transpile our code. And I'm going to copy and paste, and this code that you can also see in that npm package website. So basically what we're doing is after this task, if you look at the task that was happening, so there was the first task that ran this escape non-ASCII characters, replace copyright, replace version. So right after that, so after that task, we want to run this custom task, and we want to use this ui5-task-transpile, and we want to exclude these packages. So I'm going to put this, and now let's see what happens when we do this npm run. So I'm going to run npm run build, and let's see what happens. It should be, and you can see that right after replace version, it ran. So our task was replace version. We wanted to run right after that, and we were able to run this task ui5-task-transpile, and the code is built successfully. Previously, we were not able to build this package. And let's go into this dist folder, because this is where it throws in all the built files. And let's see how our master controller.js looks like now. So if I look at my master controller.js, and if I search for Control F, Chandra Das, and you can see that it's changed the syntax. Now it's used the older syntax, var t equals. It no longer uses const or anything, and the spread operator is removed, and it has using a different syntax that the older browser can understand. So now this is compiled, and if I also look at my component preload.js, the minified version, and here you can see the same thing with let me yeah, and here you'll be able to see the same thing. If I'll search for Chandra Das, you can see that it has changed, it has transpiled it successfully. Now, this is all good in my local environment. We can also do the same thing from SAP Web IDE as well. So I can go into my SAP Web IDE, go into, say, mastercontroller.js, and I can throw this same code snippet that I used. And obviously this is has nothing to do with the application. So I throw in this code here, and already ESLint is telling that it's reserved. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into package.json, and I'm going to add this dependency. So I'm going to add a dependency for this ui5-task-transpile. Let me see what version. UI5. Okay, they just want to use the star, so let me just use star. And then I want to do the same thing. I want to add the dependency on my UI5 as well. So I will add this dependency on my UI5 as well. So right now we are trying to run the same thing here from the SAP Web IDE. So we have the ES6 code. We have the package.json. Now let's go into the UI5 YAML, and let's add this custom task. And I'm going to add this custom task, and I'm going to just name is I'm pretty much copying and pasting the same code here in name. So we just need to make sure it's aligned correctly. And I believe that looks good to me. Let me double check on my package.json, on my ui5.yaml, cust name, yeah, debug should be indented. Yeah, everything looks good. So let's save everything and let's go ahead and build this here. So I'll get back to you when the build is complete. Okay, the build is now complete. So as you can see, the build completed successfully. And if I keep going up, you can see that after the replace version task, we were able to run our ui5-task-transpile, and we were able to transpile our code. So if I go into my dist folder and if I go into the component preload.js, and you will see that the code, if you look into the code, you will see, let me check. If I do Control F and Chandra Das, and you can see the same thing that it has transpiled. Now we are no longer using const, we are using var, and the spread operator is gone, replaced by object spread, something that the older browsers can understand. I also went ahead and deployed this to the SAP Cloud Platform. So I deployed this application to the SAP Cloud Platform. So this is the link. And if I run this link, and again, I'm not really interested in the application per se, and I see I have the console log showing up, and this is Chrome browser, so I expect it to work regardless of whether it transpiled or not. But what I'm really interested is how it behaves on my Internet Explorer. So I run this application on Internet Explorer, and let me refresh one more time. Oh, okay. So there you see, you can see that it has the city Atlanta, first name Milton, hobbies of an array 3, last name Chandradas. So we were able to successfully transpile the spread operator, the newer JavaScript ES6 syntax, and it now works on older browsers as well. So that's it for now, folks. Thank you.